Hey,
Hi,
Marguerite, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing so good. I haven't seen you in so many years, so I'm so
Yeah,
happy to see your face.
nice to see you too, Sandra.
Well, so I wanted to talk to you just because one, I haven't talked to you in so long, but you're doing so many things. I see you on Instagram. And I know that you've got, so many credits under your belt that you've been there, done it all. You have so many things that you could probably share with some of the people who have been kind of jumping into this online conversation about how dance and movement have kind of evolved, forcefully in this last few months because of the global pandemic and, different social justice reforms that we're all working for. So how do you see yourself fitting into this whole conversation?
Well, I mean, right now during this time, because all my TV and film productions are shut down, I've been very blessed. I love teaching, and I've been, asked by so many wonderful platforms to teach virtually, via Zoom and CLI and T Millie and, just the New York City Dance Alliance. So I've been able to do one of my greatest loves of all during this time in a different way.
Yeah.
It took a bit of getting used to, teaching virtually when I'm just talking to a camera and not seeing any faces
Yeah.
versus Zoom where I see them all, but everybody's a couple beats behind because of internet.
Hmm.
But I'm getting used to it and just really blessed that I'm able to do this. And I feel like our dance community has not stopped since day one. And
Right.
so I'm, grateful to be a part of the movement, this dance movement that's happening right now.
Yeah.
My mentor, Debbie Allen, who is like a force, behind it all. I taught a couple classes for Dada last week, and I'm doing a piece with Mandy Moore and Travis Wall that Debbie's having us each do a section to Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. And I had like 72 dancers on these Zoom at the Zoom, and my friend Keon at IAF Force, who also has a new platform, IAF Force Prime,
Hmm.
lets me go to his studio and he puts them up. And I was watching these dancers and literally like this guy Dante was dancing in the middle of his street and
Yeah.
cars were going by, and I almost started to cry, and he was dancing for his life, and I was like, oh my god, Dante, your neighborhood is getting such a show right now. But to see him dancing there, and some kids in their living rooms and in their bedrooms and in dining rooms just wanting to dance and not stopping,
Yeah.
it's just been incredible. And I've been so grateful to be asked to join this club, to be able to go out there and to continue to teach. I've done something that I haven't done in, oh gosh, I want to say over 20 years. I've been
Hmm.
going into the studio to create new choreography for class. I
Hmm.
haven't been able to do that in so long because I'm always working. So I'm always either doing old routines that my students from back in the day remember, or,
Yeah.
recycling a piece from Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And all of that's been wonderful. But I have this new creative flow for
Hmm.
creating choreography just to teach right now. And that is, for me, that's just been really inspiring and amazing. And I'm excited to bring it to everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that with Debbie, like with what's going on, like this piece is, for me, it was about empowerment through this really difficult social time,
Hmm.
finding our power through our voice and actions,
Hmm.
not just sitting by and feeling things and not expressing ourselves.
Exactly.
So through our art form that we're able to, you know, have a voice and
Mhm.
really feel like, I feel like everybody right now, it's like I remember thinking, oh, my vote doesn't count. I think
Yeah.
everybody right now is realizing that our voice does count, our vote does count. And that's the most exciting thing for me about this time.
Yeah.
I just seeing, the protests and how everybody was coming together, using their voices and knowing how powerful that was. I think that's been incredible.
Definitely. Well, I know that, if you are creating, in the studio, I know everybody's going to want to know which studio you're at. Because everyone's like, when when is she doing her next masterclass? You know, so where do you see, as far as the casting aspect of how the pandemic is going to change how people are auditioning, maybe, or where do you see that going with what you're doing?
Well, you know, it could be a lot of online submissions.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing this thing with I Coach Dance, which is like a one-on-one thing. And I've
Mm-hmm.
been working with a lot of dancers that are like getting ready to graduate from either high school or college, and really getting them to be aware of the camera and how to put themselves on film, because I really do think that, you know, we're going to have to do a lot more of that. I've
Yeah.
never been into that before, but so I think the dancers, like, here's a time all dancers right now can set up their cameras and they can find a space, if it's in their garage or outside, and really practice these online, you know, submissions.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a lot of the dancers, they don't slate. They don't, I'm like speak to us, because that's a big thing. Like when we see your personality, and that's the first thing we get to see, you know. So I think that this would be a great time for dancers to, you know, really work one-on-one with themselves, you know, and create, you know, these videos that, you know, and making sure that they're really like right on top of it for video submissions. So I think that's going to be a big thing for a lot of not just acting, but for dance in the future.
Yeah. Well, how, when you're looking at, let's say it's a video submission that you've received, what is something, I know that you're talking about personality and all that, but I know that you're big on bodies, you know, like you want to see head to toe, you know, how people are moving. What is the one thing that you're afraid is you're not going to see in a video submission, and you want to make sure that people are including that?
Well, you know, it's like I would think about, if anybody's ever been to an audition of mine, it always starts with typecasting. So they stand in a line, and just by the presentation of how they came to that audition, I either say yes or no. Because, you know, like some auditions, 600 people walk in the room, and then I typecast, and maybe after that first typecast, maybe there's 60 or 70 left.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, there's always a type, knowing what the type it is, but you know, presenting yourself. And for me, I'm telling all the dancers right now, if in doubt, look at the Fosse dancers, men and women, and come in dressed like that for me, because the Fosse dancers were body conscious. So you
Mm-hmm.
can see lines. My choreography is all about clean lines. And so I want to see that. Like, I don't like baggy clothing and things that kind of mess up lines. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to show your stomach. You don't have to, you know, be comfortable, but be very body conscious. So look at the Fosse dancers. That's why I always tell everybody, look at the Fosse dancers. And this is a good time too for dancers. Like, film yourself and look at it and see what you look like on camera.
Yeah.
Because you might go, ooh, you know, the black legs didn't work with that. Maybe if I went with a more of a flesh tone with that shoe, it would give me more length. You know, you can kind of play around with it. So I think that this is a time for, you know, for us all to kind of, I mean, right now, Amazon just sent me this ring light and
Oh,
a stand, because I've been doing all of these things, like, you know, not goonish, not knowing. And I'm doing this big interview. We do Maisel Mondays, and they're highlighting each creative. And
mm-hmm.
on week 8, which is July 20th, they're highlighting the choreography on the show. So after we do Maisel Monday, where we watch the show and live tweet,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm doing a live interview with Rachel Brosnan and Tony Shalhoub from the show, and also Sandra Bergman, who I'm like a geeked out fan about, is going to be interviewing me. So they just sent me this thing, and I'm like, oh, I look better with the ring light on. You know,
Ring
so it's
light
like,
here.
well, yeah, it's a discovery, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
discovery. So I think this is a time for all of us to discover, what can we do to make it better in this time? You know, and for a dancer, like all my dancers on Maisel, we did this video where we did this social distancing, where I had this big number at the opening of season 3. It's a big tap number with 20 girls.
Mm-hmm.
And they hired those 20 girls to shoot themselves doing the tap number at home.
Okay.
Well, you know, Maisel doesn't do anything janky. So they sent all the girls a backdrop, the ring light with the tripod for the camera. And so now all my Maisel dancers have these things.
They're set up.
You can order one on Amazon for $29. guys, go out, get it, like raise your level of game as much as you can during this time, and being prepared for what's about to go down. I think productions are slowly starting to come back, so it might be sooner than we think. So just get prepared.
Yeah. Well, I know that it's really difficult for the one part of dance auditions would be submitting the choreography the way that the choreographer intended, with the space intended, because you only have so much space at your house, right? So
That's right.
There's so many people who are doing things in their house, but it's never going to exactly replicate what you're trying to do for a submission. So if you're creating stuff for audition submissions, are you trying to limit the movement, or because no?
No, and here's the thing, and I'm even teaching on these platforms. Like I have a class tomorrow at CLI. I've been going into a studio to do all of my classes, like the Zoom classes. I don't do anything at home except for an interview like this. Yeah. So I'm going in and I'm creating in a big studio space. And it's pretty mind-blowing, like with Debbie's dancers last week, what they were doing in their small spaces was blowing my mind. But no, as far as, especially with choreography for work, I won't let anything, put me in a box. So I would hope that the dancers could, go into your garage or something, a place where you have more space. I am a little more conscious though of like jumping and swirling to the floor, stuff like that. So, but nothing that kind of, like is staying in place. I think that would be really boring.
Yeah. Well, what is on your horizon? Because I don't want to keep you too long, but what's the next for you?
Well, Maisel, season 4 of Maisel, we were supposed to start shooting in June. I'm being, I keep hearing things that maybe we'll start in October, sometime in the fall is the goal right now. So we'll see how everything goes with the numbers. I know New York is doing a lot better right now. Right. I was on the first day of shooting of season 4 of Glow when they shut us down. So I was on set and we shot one day and then they shut us down. So I still have season 4 of Glow, and I was working on a new TV show, untitled TV show for ABC, which is a new sitcom that I was supposed to start shooting 3 days after the shutdown. So I'm hoping that still comes back. And then I have a show that on Amazon Prime, a new show called Them Covenant, which I think we are at episode 8 out of 10. So we have to finish that season. I don't know how much dance is left in the season, but that's a possibility there. So kind of 4 TV shows that are kind of lingering. But I really, more than anything, I can't wait to get back to Maisel. It's like my heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, you are busy. So I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time, because I know there's so many people out there who are just wondering, like, how are we going to do it all? And I know that you have so much insight into what you've already done and how you're tweaking your particular projects. And just coming back to teaching is just amazing, that you have brought, your next gig while we're in this kind of pandemic is to get in the studio. And I just encourage everyone who's watching, if you have a chance to be in the studio, get in the studio.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that they're open for, renting out, I think, at this time, and you probably can make a deal and get a cheaper rate for it. I'm teaching my first class on Friday with students in the room, which is going to be interesting. It's for Tyler Peck. She has a summer intensive. All the students will have masks on, as will I and my assistants. My choreography, I can't imagine them doing that for an hour and a half with a mask on. Oh my goodness. But we're just trying to go back, but being safe. I don't think anything is worth a risk right now. I would just really tell everybody that we're gonna get through this. I don't know when, I don't know how long it's gonna take. We will get through it, but it's not worth putting yourself or anybody you love at risk. So be safe. And there's a lot of classes online that are free. So I know Tyler Peck teaches a ballet class every morning from her kitchen
I
for
see.
free, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so take advantage of that, everybody. There's a lot out there for you, and I cannot wait to see the dancers live again in class, in auditions, on sets, and I know we're going to get there. So let's just keep ourselves ready for it, you know.
Exactly.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Well, thank you so much. I wish you all the best of health and stay safe. And
Same to you, darling. It's so great to see your face.
you too.
Have a blessed day. Bye,
You too.
sweetie.
Bye bye.